Joining me live in the studio to start our coverage today, Israel's new ambassador to Australia, Dr Hillel Newman. Ambassador, thanks for your time. Welcome to Australia. You've been here less than, a fortnight?
Less than 2 weeks, that's true. A week and a half, Kieran, and thank you for inviting me. It's my honour and pleasure to be here at Sky News. I follow your reports closely. And allow me just to take this opportunity also to wish the Jewish community a happy Purim. It's their festival of Purim today. And a Ramadan Kareem to the Muslim community. Indeed.
Well, yes, obviously we have big communities on both fronts, a large Jewish community, and I know that you're well versed on that, as well as the community from the Middle East. But let's talk about the conflict in Iran now.
Sure.
You've heard the critique from critics internationally and locally. The Greens have been arguing it's an illegal war. What do you say to the argument that this is an illegal conflict? What is the legal basis for the Israeli and US-led strikes?
Anyone who critiques the attack on Iran, I think, has lost their moral compass completely. There's full justification for this attack. Iran, since the Islamic Revolution in 1979, has turned itself into the enemy of the West, of the United States, of Israel, of our values. They've repeated again and again, death to America, death to Israel. They're not only words, not only rhetoric, but also actions. They've become the #1 state sponsor of terror. They're trying to destabilize the Middle East and kill as many people as they can. In the West, in Israel, in the United States, they've killed more than 1,000 Americans in different proxy attacks. And of course, Israelis, they've set up the launching, you just mentioned the launching of drones and attacks of the Hezbollah. Hezbollah is just one of their proxy organizations like the Hamas and others that attack again and again. So we've been under attack since the Islamic Revolution. So it is our right of self-defense to act in order to remove this threat.
Your comments interesting yesterday where you spoke about the Lebanese Prime Minister having an opportunity to be elected after the Hezbollah was diminished in recent times. He has since called on Hezbollah to disarm and to stand down. How do you look at that relationship right now on your northern border of Israel's northern border? Because quite frankly, there are many within Lebanon who would like to see Lebanon Hezbollah weakened even further.
Yes, Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran serving Iranian interests instead of Lebanese interests. They're not serving the Lebanese people in any way. They're just bringing harm and death and devastation to Lebanon, to Israel, to the entire environment. Our action when we decapitated the leadership of the Hezbollah, it allowed the Lebanese people for the first time to vote a president, President Aoun, who was their own choice. He wasn't the choice of Hezbollah. So there is an opportunity. We wish for peace with Lebanon, but we need to demilitarize Hezbollah for that to happen.
Yeah, indeed. And many, as you know, in Lebanon wish for peace with Israel as well. That's a widespread, widely held view. I want to ask you about the position of the Australian government, very strongly supporting the strikes, but the UK, France and others saying, really focusing on the need for diplomacy right now. How do you look at the international reaction?
Well, we commend the Australian government for taking a principled stand, standing on the right side of history, standing with the United States and with Israel. Foreign Minister Wong also said it yesterday in the Parliament, and Prime Minister Albanese. So we're very happy about it that they've taken that stand. It's a principled stand on the right side of history. There are countries that still waffle backwards and forwards. I heard the Chancellor of Germany say just yesterday that European friends and European leaders should not criticize their allies who are doing the work that should be done and must be done according to the values of the European community. So Israel and America, in a joint operation, it's not an Israeli operation, it's a joint operation, are doing the work that has to be done. And we would assume that all the Western value-orientated countries would support it.
Were you surprised in the initial statement by the Albanese government that there was a mention and support for the US strikes, but not Israel?
Yes, I noticed that, but later they also mentioned Israel. Foreign Minister Wong in the Parliament yesterday mentioned Israel as well. It's a joint operation. So if they support the United States, by reference, they're also supporting Israel.
When we talk about the international rules-based order, does this, the way that the Israeli and US forces have carried this out, does it undermine the rules-based order?
Not at all. First of all, there were many diplomatic efforts put in in order to try and resolve the situation. Iran just enacted delay tactics and all kinds of methods in order to delay and get out and try to ignore their need. There were existential threats coming out of Iran which needed to be removed. All kinds of methods were tried to be implemented in order to resolve this issue in diplomatic means. Now, we have an armed conflict ongoing. So it is the right and even the obligation of any country to act in self-defense, according to international law, to remove the existential threats.
Has it worsened, though, in recent times? Was it an imminent threat? Because Iran's had these ballistic missiles and been working on them for many, many years.
Yes. I'll tell you why it was time sensitive. There were two or three aspects that were developing according to our intelligence sources. The first was that after the Midnight Hammer attack, we managed to take out, together with the United States, we managed to take out a lot of their facilities and infrastructure and enriched uranium, but they had full intention to go forward and even rapidly enrich uranium and develop a military uranium bomb, in fact, and also to dig it deep under the ground so that it would not be able to attack it. That have immunity, one could say, from any future attack. These two aspects which came out of intelligence led us to the understanding that we have a time-sensitive issue and must be dealt with, otherwise we have an imminent threat.
It's also been the focus, as you would know, and many of our viewers know, for Prime Minister Netanyahu. This has been his number one international focus for decades.
He is a world leader who has been talking about this for 4 decades. Since he began politics, he was one of the first to, like the canary in the mine, calling for this threat, which is growing and growing, and then it became a world community threat. This is the threat not only against Israel, it's against the West, it's against our values in general. So I'll just continue. The ballistic missiles is an imminent threat because they intended to stockpile thousands of missiles and then send them in one go. That is an existential threat to any country. We have the most sophisticated methods of interception developed by Israel and the United States, which is now being bought by the entire world from Israel and the United States. But these methods cannot handle thousands of rockets coming at the same time. That's why we see some of the attacks that have succeeded in Israel and the United States. So it was an existential threat. If they launched thousands of missiles at the same time, it could completely devastate the state of Israel or other countries.
And how much is regime change a focus here? How much of that is a priority of this?
Of course, we'll all be happy if the regime changes. I don't think anybody in the West should cry about that. But it's not the full objective. That's up to the Iranian people. The objective is to remove existential threats, which is the ballistic missiles and the nuclear aspect. It's up to the people of Iran to vote in their leadership.
Finally, I'll let you go. I would be remiss of me not to ask you about the rise of anti-Semitism in Australia. We have a Royal Commission underway in the wake of the Bondi atrocity, yes, which shocked many around the world, certainly in Australia and Israel.
Yes.
You've come here now at a time where the bilateral relationship has been at a low point. How do you want to see Australia-Israel relations over the next 1, 2, 3 years?
Well, two different topics. I'll separate them. Our relations with Australia, we're natural allies. It's only natural that we should work closely together as full-blown allies. We share the same values. We've had historic relations of working together. We even fought together in freeing from the Ottoman Empire after the First World War. We are natural allies sharing the same values, and we should work closely together. That's regarding our relations, and I believe that we should get things on track and improve our relations and even go into strategic dialogues, which will be for the benefit of Australia and Israel. Regarding anti-Semitism, of course, it's a grave concern. It's grown all over the world. There's some people who think that being against Israel is not anti-Semitism, but it is. It's a camouflage of anti-Semitism. There's only one Jewish democratic state in the world, and that's Israel. So this issue must be dealt with, and I praise the government of Australia for taking a harsh stand and implementing the laws about the hate speech. One must take a hard stand on that.
Israeli Ambassador to Australia, Dr Hillel Newman. As I say, you've been here less than a fortnight. We very much appreciate you coming into the studio. Thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you.